the silence before fear. The dark sky of Arinder stretched endlessly. No stars, no warmth, only cold silence. The human colony huddled in shadows, hidden beneath the jagged cliffs of the barren planet. Every sound felt loud here. Every step echoed like a warning. Kale, the leader of the colony, crouched on a rocky ridge, peering through the night with sharp eyes. His fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, but from anticipation. Somewhere out there, beyond the horizon, the Council's patrol ships passed silently. The same Council that had banished humanity from the stars centuries ago. The same Council that had erased human worlds from the galactic maps. No one spoke. Silence was their only shield. The children huddled near the small shelters, unaware of the danger that lingered above. But Kale felt it. He could sense the Council's eyes watching. Always watching. A low hum broke the silence. Kale froze. In the distance, a small Council probe hovered, scanning the planet. The humans below held their breath. One wrong move, one careless step, and everything would be gone. Then, a crackling voice whispered through the colony's old communication system. "They're close. Too close." Kale's heart raced. He motioned to Tira, the colony scout, who had been watching the skies from the eastern ridge. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with determination. "We knew this day would come," she said softly. "We prepared for it." Prepared. That word felt strange on a planet where survival was a daily struggle. Food was scarce. Water even scarcer. Every day was a fight against the planet, and every night a fight against fear. Yet humans survived. Somehow always survived. Kale thought about the Council. They were arrogant, believing that humans could be controlled, tamed, and eventually forgotten. They did not understand human nature. Humans did not surrender. Humans adapted. Humans fought back. And that was why they feared them. The hum grew louder. The probe scanned the cliffs, its sensors piercing the darkness. Kale could see the faint glow of its engines. A single mistake now, and they would all be gone. Then, unexpectedly, the probe stopped. Its lights flickered, and for a moment, the night felt calm again. But Kale knew it was only a trick. The Council never hesitated. They never overlooked anything. This was the calm before the storm. Kale turned to his team. "Listen carefully," he whispered. "We move at dawn. Quietly. No mistakes." The humans nodded. Their faces were a mixture of fear and resolve. They were ready. Or at least, as ready as anyone could be when facing a power that had erased entire civilizations. As the night dragged on, Kale's mind wandered to the stories of old. Tales of humanity's first encounter with the Council, of how they had been cast out, stripped of their planets, scattered like ashes across the void. The galaxy had thought humans were finished, that they would fade quietly into legend. But humans did not fade. They survived in the shadows. They watched. They learned. And now, whispers in the void had reached them. Strange signals, faint but deliberate, coming from deep space. Signals that hinted at secrets the Council wanted to hide. Weapons, knowledge, power long forgotten. Kale did not know what the signals meant, but he felt the stirrings of hope. Hope was dangerous. Hope was fragile. Yet, in that fragile hope, humans found courage. A sudden flash lit the sky. Council ships, moving in patterns, scanning for life. The humans pressed against the rocks, hearts pounding. Tira's hand found Kale's shoulder. "It's always like this," she said. "Always a fear, and yet we keep going." Kale nodded. "Yes, because one day, fear will not be enough to stop us." The wind howled across the barren cliffs, carrying with it the faint sound of metal against stone. Somewhere in the distance, a small group of humans moved silently, preparing for a mission that could decide their fate. They were not soldiers. They were survivors. And survival had made them clever, daring, unstoppable. Kale closed his eyes for a moment. He could feel the planet beneath him, solid and real, and yet he knew it was just the beginning. The shadows had danger, yes, but they also had opportunity. For the first time in centuries, humanity had a chance to strike back. And in the stillness of the night, a strange energy pulsed through the communication channels. The faint, trembling voice of a signal, almost too quiet to hear. "We know you are there. We have been waiting." Kale's eyes snapped open. He felt the weight of the universe on his shoulders. The Council had always thought humans were weak, that humans were lost, that humans were nothing. Tonight, they would learn the truth. The silence before fear was over. The shadows were stirring, and humanity was ready to reclaim its place in the void. The first light of Arinder's twin suns crept over the cliffs, painting the barren land in shades of orange and gray. The humans stirred quietly, moving like shadows among the rocks and crumbling shelters. Kale led them down the ridge, every step careful, every sound measured. Today, the plan would begin, the first step in reclaiming what the Council had taken. The colony was small, only a few hundred people, but they were determined. Each person carried scars of survival, some visible, others hidden deep in their hearts. Among them was Tira, agile and sharp-eyed, always first to scout and last to rest. She moved alongside Kale, whispering updates as they advanced. "They've increased patrols," she said, pointing to distant glimmers in the sky. "Ships circle farther than last week, but their patterns are predictable." Kale nodded. "Good. Predictable is something we can work with." Humans had no chance in a head-on fight against the Council. Their weapons were outdated, their numbers tiny. But humans had something the Council never expected: ingenuity, creativity, and a will that refused to bend. The plan was simple but dangerous. Infiltrate a nearby Council outpost, gather intelligence, and escape before dawn. If they succeeded, it would be the first victory in centuries, a spark to ignite rebellion across the galaxy. As they approached the outpost, the humans slipped through shadows. Sensors blinked silently, and cameras scanned mechanically. Kale's team moved like ghosts, ducking behind walls, crawling through tunnels, avoiding detection. Each heartbeat was a drum of tension. Inside the outpost, they discovered evidence of the Council's fears. Files, reports, and coded messages detailed their concern about humanity's potential. The Council had underestimated them before. Now, they would see just how clever humans could be. But rebellion was not without danger. Alarms suddenly blared, shattering the quiet. A patrol had spotted Tira's reflection on a glass panel. "Move!" Kale shouted, grabbing her hand as the team sprinted through corridors. Laser fire hissed past them, sparks flying as walls were scorched. Despite the chaos, the humans pressed on. Every corner turn revealed new opportunities. A control panel that could shut down the alarms, a supply room filled with weapons, a hidden data terminal holding valuable secrets. Kale accessed the terminal, fingers flying over the alien interface. The files revealed the Council's next moves. Plans to deploy fleets to distant sectors. Plans that could destroy other hidden human colonies. With this knowledge, humanity could fight back intelligently, striking before the Council even knew what hit them. When the last alarm faded, the humans slipped out into the desert. Hearts pounded, lungs burned, but victory glimmered in their eyes. They had done it. For the first time in generations, humans had taken the initiative. Back in the colony, whispers of rebellion began to spread. Every recovered file, every successful mission, every small victory inspired hope. Humans began to dream, not just of survival, but of reclaiming their place in the galaxy. Kale looked over the gathering crowd. "We are not alone," he said. "There are others out there, hiding in shadows, waiting for the right moment. Today, we send them a message. Humanity is awake. Humanity will fight." Tira nodded beside him, her eyes reflecting the rising sun. "And the Council? They will regret every mistake they made underestimating us." As the colony prepared for the next mission, a strange signal pulsed through their communications network, the same mysterious voice from before. It was clearer now, a whisper of guidance, a promise of unknown power. Kale stared at the signal, understanding that the true battle was only beginning. Humanity had taken its first step from the shadows, but the galaxy was vast, and the Council was relentless. Survival alone would not be enough. They would need courage, cunning, and unity. And as whispers of rebellion echoed through hidden colonies and silent ships, the spark of human resistance began to grow. Soon, the Council would learn that humanity could not be controlled, could not be banished, and could not be forgotten. The shadows were no longer a prison. They were a shield, and humanity was ready to strike. The desert winds of Arinder howled, carrying dust and whispers from centuries long gone. Kale and Tira led a small team toward an ancient space station buried beneath the dunes. The station was said to be abandoned, older than any human colony, older than even the Council itself. "Are you sure this place is safe?" whispered Ren, the youngest of the team, his voice trembling. Kale didn't answer. Safety had never been part of their lives. Instead, he focused on the entrance, a massive, rusted hatch half buried in sand. Symbols carved into the metal glowed faintly as their scanners scanned the structure. Old technology, ancient and powerful. Inside, the station was silent. Dust covered the floors. Broken consoles flickered occasionally, showing fragments of data left behind. Humans explored carefully, aware that danger could hide anywhere. Tira approached the console, brushing away years of dust. "Look at this," she said, pointing at faded records. "These files, they mention the first contact with the Council. Humanity wasn't always exiled. There was a war, but something changed." Kale read the records. Humans had once been considered equals, explorers, traders, builders. But their ingenuity, their relentless curiosity, had frightened the Council. They had grown too powerful, too clever, and in fear, the Council had banished humanity, erasing entire planets from their maps. A chill ran down Kale's spine. The Council's fear had created the very rebellion they now lived in. Humans had been underestimated, dismissed as weak, but history told a different story. The team continued deeper into the station. Strange artifacts filled the rooms. Floating orbs of light, panels with alien inscriptions, weapons that hummed softly. Rin reached out to touch one, and the device activated, projecting a holographic map of the galaxy. Kale stared. This technology could give humanity an advantage. Knowledge of systems, routes, and hidden colonies. The shadows of the past were no longer just memories. They were tools, keys to survival and power. But with discovery came danger. Sensors activated suddenly, and the station's old defenses whirred to life. Laser turrets moved with deadly precision, targeting intruders. The humans ducked behind consoles, hearts pounding, firing carefully. Even abandoned technology could be lethal. After a tense battle with the station's defenses, the team finally accessed a sealed chamber. Inside was a small archive of alien data, containing secrets of the Council's strategies, weapon designs, and surveillance networks. It was a treasure trove. Kale understood immediately. The Council had always feared humans because humans could learn, adapt, and innovate faster than anyone. The shadows had hidden humanity, but the past was a guide, a blueprint for the rebellion that could reshape the galaxy. Tira examined one artifact, a sleek weapon unlike anything humans had seen. "If we can understand this, we can level the playing field," she said. "Maybe even surpass them." Kale nodded, but his mind was elsewhere. The files hinted at more than weapons. There were references to hidden allies, other civilizations that had once opposed the Council. The galaxy was larger than they knew, and the shadows were filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. As the team prepared to leave, Kale paused, looking back at the ancient station. Its walls had witnessed centuries of fear, war, and survival. And now, humanity would take what was theirs. The desert winds carried their footsteps as they left, but Kale felt something new: purpose. The shadows of the past were no longer just memories of exile. They were lessons, warnings, and tools. And with them, humans could rise, strike, and claim their place among the stars. Back at the colony, whispers of this discovery spread quickly. Morale soared. Humans spoke in hushed tones about the power of knowledge, about secrets that could tip the balance. And somewhere in the cold void of space, the Council began to notice small, strange disturbances, signals, movements, things they could not explain. Kale stood on the ridge again, watching the stars. "They think they control everything," he murmured. "But they've only given us the shadows to hide in. And from these shadows, humanity will rise." The past had shown the way, and the future was ready to be taken. Night had fallen on a render, but the colony was alive with activity. Kale's team prepared for their first offensive mission, a strike against a minor council outpost on a nearby asteroid. It was small, heavily guarded, and no human had ever dared approach it before. Tonight, that would change. Kale reviewed the plan one last time. "We don't fight like them," he said. "We move quietly. We strike fast. And we vanish before they even know what hit them." Tira nodded, checking her gear. "They won't expect us. They never do." The humans moved through the darkness, their small ships gliding silently toward the asteroid. As they approached, sensors picked up patrol drones circling the station. The team froze, waiting for the perfect moment. "Now!" Kale whispered. In unison, they struck. Tiny charges disabled the outer sensors, and the team slipped inside the outpost through a maintenance hatch. Inside, corridors stretched like a maze, lit by the cold, sterile light of council technology. The team moved like shadows. Every step was precise, every breath measured, and when they encountered guards, they neutralized them quickly, silently. Humans had no chance in a head-on fight, but against unprepared enemies, they were deadly. Kale led them to the central data hub. Tira worked on the locks, her fingers flying over the alien interface. The files inside contained patrol schedules, weapon blueprints, and coded messages from council commanders. Every piece of information was a victory, a way to turn the council's strength against them. But the council was not blind. Alarms suddenly blared, red lights flashing. "They know we're here," shouted Rin, panic in his voice. Kale remained calm. "Stick to the plan. We fight smart, not hard." The team split, using narrow corridors and ventilation shafts to evade reinforcements. Laser fire hissed past walls, sparks flying. The humans were outnumbered, but their knowledge of the station allowed them to control the battlefield. Tira activated a section of the station's security systems remotely, causing doors to lock and traps to trigger. Council guards stumbled, giving the humans a crucial advantage. Every move was calculated. Every second counted. Finally, they reached the central hub's core. Kale downloaded critical data, his heart pounding. This was more than intelligence. It was proof that the Council feared humanity's return, proof that the galaxy was theirs for the taking if they played their cards right. With files secured, the team exfiltrated. Alarms still blared, but the humans vanished into the night, leaving the Council in chaos. The first strike had been small, but its impact would ripple far beyond this asteroid. Back at the colony, celebrations were muted but heartfelt. Humans had done the impossible. They had struck the Council and survived. They had shown that they were clever, daring, and relentless. Kale addressed the team. "Tonight, we sent a message. Humanity is not lost. We are not hiding forever. We are awake and we will fight. Every shadow holds a chance, and every corner of the galaxy can be ours." Tira added, smiling despite the tension. "And they'll never see us coming next time." The night sky of Arinder stretched wide above them, stars shining faintly through the dust. Somewhere far away, the Council was reassessing, confused by this audacity. They had underestimated humans again. Kale watched the horizon, feeling the weight of what they had done. This was only the beginning. Echoes of war would follow, but now humanity had tasted victory. Now humanity had hope, and hope, Kale knew, was far more dangerous than fear. The calm after the first strike did not last long. Within days, the Council retaliated. Massive warships appeared in Arinder's orbit, blocking communication channels and scanning every inch of the barren planet. The humans knew the Council was coming, not just to punish, but to exterminate. Kale stood on the ridge, staring at the approaching fleet. His jaw tightened. "They've learned," he muttered, "and they're coming for us." Tira joined him, her expression grim. "They always overestimate their power. They always think fear will control us." The colony prepared for survival. The civilians moved into hidden bunkers. Supplies were rationed, and scouts were sent to monitor Council movements. Every human knew that this fight was not just for victory. It was for existence. The first attack came at dawn. Laser beams cut through the sky, scorching the desert and shaking the cliffs. Explosions rocked the colony, and humans dived for cover. Kale's team activated makeshift defenses, using trenches, barricades, and clever traps to slow the enemy. Despite the Council's superior technology, humans adapted quickly. They set ambushes, rerouted patrols, and used the terrain to their advantage. Small skirmishes erupted across the planet, each one a test of courage and wit. Kale led a strike team to disable a Council command post. Every step was dangerous, every corridor a potential death trap. Laser fire hissed around them. Sparks flew. Tira's quick thinking saved Rin when a turret targeted him. "This is only the beginning," Kale said, breathing heavily. "If we survive, we'll learn their weaknesses. We'll turn their power against them." But the Council was relentless. Reinforcements arrived faster than expected. Kale's team had to retreat, narrowly escaping through a hidden canyon. They watched as a Council squad destroyed a supply depot, leaving humans with limited resources. Back at the colony, the mood was tense. Fear was everywhere, but so was determination. Humans huddled together, sharing information, planning next moves, and finding courage in unity. Kale addressed the colony. "They may be stronger, faster, and bigger in number, but we have something they don't: adaptability, ingenuity, and a reason to fight. Every human here is proof that we survive when others think we can't." Tira added, her voice steady. "They think fear will break us. It won't. We are human. We endure. We fight. And soon they will regret underestimating us." As night fell, Kale looked at the stars. Somewhere far away, Council officers debated their next move, but humans had already begun planning their counterattack. This was no longer just survival. It was a spark of rebellion that could not be contained. The Council had struck. The humans had survived. And from the chaos, a new strategy would emerge. A plan to turn the tide, to take the fight to the enemy, and to show the galaxy that humanity would never be forgotten. The shadows were no longer hiding humans. They were their shield. And the war was far from over. Irinder's nights were cold, but the humans moved with purpose. Kale led a small team toward a hidden cavern beneath the northern cliffs, a place spoken of in whispers among the elders. The hidden armory, they called it, a place where ancient alien weapons and ships lay untouched for centuries. "They say no human has seen it," Rin whispered, his voice filled with awe. Kale smiled grimly. "We're not ordinary humans." The entrance was narrow, barely wide enough for one person at a time. Tira went first, scanning for traps. The walls were lined with strange inscriptions that glowed faintly under their lights. Something about this place felt alive. Inside, the cavern opened into a massive chamber. Dozens of sleek ships rested on silent platforms. Weapons of alien design shimmered with power, some humming faintly as if waiting to be used. It was more than a cache. It was a gift from the past, a secret the Council had hoped humans would never find. Kale's eyes widened. This changes everything. Tira approached a weapon, delicate but deadly. "We need to understand these. They're not just stronger. They're smarter, faster. Everything the Council has, but adapted for us." The humans spent days learning, testing, and adapting the technology. They discovered energy rifles that fire with precision, ships that could outmaneuver Council patrols, and devices that could cloak entire units. Every discovery fueled hope and confidence. But it wasn't just weapons that excited Kale. There were communications devices, star maps, and archives of long-lost knowledge. This armory could give humanity intelligence, power, and the ability to strike before the Council even realized humans were moving. During training, Kale watched his team with pride. They adapted quickly, learning alien systems in hours. Their ingenuity turned unfamiliar technology into an extension of themselves. A small team of humans now had the tools to challenge the might of the Council. "This is more than survival," Kale said. "This is the beginning of our comeback. From shadows to strength." Tira's eyes sparkled. "And once we're ready, the Council won't know what hit them." The colony began to grow more confident. Scouts returned with news of other hidden human settlements, each struggling to survive. With the armory's technology, these scattered colonies could connect, forming the foundation of a human rebellion that could span the galaxy. Kale stood atop a platform in the cavern, looking at the humans around him. "We've been given a chance," he said. "A chance to not just survive, but to reclaim what was taken from us." The Council may have thought they banished humanity, but they only delayed what was inevitable. The humans trained through day and night. They ran simulations, prepared battle strategies, and adapted the alien technology for human use. Every day, they grew stronger. Every day, hope replaced fear. And somewhere in the vast void of space, signals began to ripple, alerts and disturbances in Council communication channels. Humanity's awakening was no longer a secret. Kale turned to Tira. "They think we are weak, hiding in the shadows. Soon, they will learn that shadows can hide anything, even an army ready to reclaim the stars." The hidden armory was no longer just a sanctuary. It was a weapon, a symbol, and a promise. Humanity had found the tools to fight back, and nothing could stop them now. The human fleet moved silently through the void, cloaked by the alien technology from the hidden armory. Dozens of ships, small but deadly, glided toward a heavily guarded Council stronghold in a distant sector. This was no ordinary strike. It was a bold move to claim territory the Council had assumed belonged to them forever. Kale stood on the bridge of the lead ship, eyes fixed on the holographic map of the stronghold. "Patience," he said. "We strike precisely, and we strike hard. One wrong move and everything is lost." Tira monitored the Council defenses. "They've upgraded their shields and weapon systems, but they're predictable. We know their routines. We know their weaknesses." The attack began with precision. Human ships split into small squads, slipping through defense gaps. Laser fire erupted suddenly, but the humans moved with coordination, using the armory's advanced cloaking devices to avoid detection. Inside the stronghold, chaos erupted. Council soldiers scrambled as intruders disabled communications and power nodes. Rin, now seasoned and confident, led a team to sabotage the weapon systems. Alarms blared, but it was already too late. The humans had the advantage. Kale watched the battlefield unfold. Every maneuver was calculated, every strike designed to maximize impact while minimizing risk. Humans were outnumbered, but intelligence and strategy turned the tide. Council commanders realized too late that these were not ordinary attackers. They were humans, adapted, armed, and unstoppable. Tira activated a series of energy pulses, knocking out several enemy turrets. Explosions shook the stronghold, and human ships darted through corridors, targeting critical control centers. Victory came piece by piece. The Council tried to regroup, but human strategy was superior. Every move anticipated, every weakness exploited. By the time reinforcements arrived, the humans had already secured key positions. Kale stood on the command platform of the stronghold, looking over the aftermath. Humans had taken control, and the Council's forces were forced to retreat. The sector was no longer theirs. It was the first human-controlled territory in centuries. Back at the colony, news of the victory spread like wildfire. Morale soared. Humans began to dream bigger. Not just survival, but reclaiming the galaxy piece by piece. Colonies connected, resources shared, and a new network of resistance formed. Kale addressed his team. "Tonight, we claim more than a stronghold. We claim proof that humanity is not just surviving, we are thriving. The Council underestimated us. The galaxy underestimated us. And that will be their greatest mistake." Tira smiled, looking at the stars. From shadows to strength, from fear to victory. And this is just the beginning. Signals from the conquered stronghold revealed other hidden Council bases, lightly defended, ripe for human strategy. The void was no longer empty. It was ours to claim. Kale gazed at the stars, feeling the weight of history and the promise of the future. Humanity had moved from shadows into the light of power. And soon, the Council would know that the universe had changed. The void belonged to humanity now, not through brute force alone, but through cunning, courage, and unity. The first step was taken, and nothing could stop the rising tide of human reclamation. The galaxy had changed. Once scattered and hidden, humanity now stood united and strong. The Council's fear had become reality. Worlds that had been lost, colonies thought extinct, were now connected through human fleets and communication networks. The void, once a place of exile, was now a domain of possibility. Kale stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching a newly liberated planet rotate beneath them. Cities rose from dust, and colonies were rebuilt with human ingenuity and resilience. Ships moved between worlds, carrying supplies, knowledge, and hope. The whispers of rebellion had become a chorus of triumph. Tira joined him, her eyes bright. "They underestimated us for centuries," she said. "But we didn't just survive. We thrived. And now we lead." Kale nodded. "The Council thought they could banish us, erase us from history. They didn't see that survival is in our nature. We endure. We adapt. We rise." Council forces were scattered and weakened. Their fleets, once vast and intimidating, now faced human ingenuity at every turn. Humans didn't just fight. They innovated, strategized, and reclaimed what was theirs. Slowly, the galaxy came to respect humanity as a power that could not be ignored. In the colony, people gathered to celebrate. Songs and stories of survival, courage, and cunning filled the air. Children, once born in fear and shadows, now grew up in light and hope. Humanity had not only survived exile, it had become a beacon. Kale addressed the crowd. "We have faced fear, exile, and annihilation. Yet here we stand, not as victims, not as shadows, but as humans, strong, free, and united. The void is ours, and our story is only beginning." Tira added, smiling, "The Council will remember this. They will know that humanity is not to be underestimated, and we will continue to grow, explore, and protect what we have fought for." The stars stretched endlessly above them, vast and full of possibility. New colonies awaited, distant systems called for exploration, and old secrets of the galaxy still lingered, waiting to be discovered. Humanity was no longer hiding. Humanity had returned, and with courage, cunning, and unity, they claimed the void. As Kale gazed at the horizon, he felt the weight of history and the promise of the future. Humanity had risen from the shadows of fear to the light of power. And this was just the beginning of their story in the galaxy. The Council had cast humanity out, but humanity had returned stronger, smarter, and unstoppable. The universe now knew the truth. Humans were not to be controlled, not to be banished, and never to be forgotten. From the shadows, humanity had been reborn,